إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. وأشهد أنه بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح للأمة وكشف الله جل وعلا به الغمة فتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. فصلوات الله وسلامه وتبريكاته عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن صار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ثم ما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, we know just yesterday past Thanksgiving. It's a day that people claim that they give thanks this one day of the year, giving thanks on Thanksgiving. It has very ancient, very old traditions in this country. But as Muslims, we know that giving thanks isn't something done once a year. It's not something done only on Thanksgiving. Giving thanks is something that should be done all the time for us. It should be done in ways much stronger than what the kuffar do, because we have things the kuffar don't. We have Islam and we have Iman. And that is more of a reason for us to be thankful than anything that the kuffar could have. Allah said in the Quran, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you were to try to count the blessings of Allah, the ni'am of Allah, you would never be able to count it. You would never be able to count the number of blessings that Allah has given you. You wouldn't even be able to count the categories that Allah has given you in terms of health, in terms of wealth, in terms of Iman. You could keep on going, you wouldn't even be able to count the categories. There are categories you don't even know exist. There are categories you don't even know that you should be grateful for. But Allah has so given them to you. The number one blessing that Allah has given all of us in this room, and has given all Muslims, is the blessing of Iman, the blessing of Islam. There is no ni'mah of Allah that is greater than the blessing of Islam. Because if we weren't to have Islam, it would be better for us to not have anything. It would be better for us to not even have life. It would be better for us to be dead or not to have even be created if we didn't have Islam. Because those who don't have Islam, their goal in the hereafter, their destination in the hereafter is something which is way worse than any of the troubles of the dunya. If you weren't to have Iman or Islam, the destination on the Day of Judgment, Jahannam, eternity in Jahannam, is far worse than any bad thing you could imagine in the dunya. So the ni'mah of Islam is the number one, the most important, and it supersedes everything else. We can ignore everything else and just be grateful for Islam, and we would never be able to thank Allah enough. Even if we were, the saying of a scholar, even if we were to spend our day and night just thanking Allah, we would need to thank Him more for giving us the ability to thank Him. So every time we say Alhamdulillah, we have to say Alhamdulillah because we were given the ability to say Alhamdulillah. So we have to understand that we will never be able to thank Allah enough. We will never be able to thank Him enough because we don't even know what we should thank Him for, all the things that we should thank Him for. There are things hidden that we could never understand, but Allah has blessed us with them and we can't thank Him for it. But we have to just thank Allah as much as we can. And we have to thank Him in a way that's humble, understanding that we will never be able to thank Him enough. Going back to the number one ni'mah that Allah has given us, Allah says, we know one of the greatest surahs in the Quran about blessings, about Allah is asking us which of the blessings of Allah are you going to deny? Surah Al-Rahman, everyone knows. Allah starts the Quran, Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. Allama al-Quran, He taught the Quran, khalaqa al-insan, He created mankind. So Allah put Allama al-Quran before He put khalaqa al-insan. Allah put the knowledge of the Quran, the knowledge of Islam, the knowledge of Allah above our creation. So Allah is telling us, it doesn't matter whether or not I created you, the most important part is that I gave you the Quran. I taught you the Quran. So it's part of our gratitude to accept Allah's gift. If we don't look at the Quran, if we don't read the Quran, if we don't try to understand it and follow it, aren't we being ungrateful for the gift Allah has given us? Imagine someone earthly, a human being, a person, your friend gave you a gift, a watch. Would he be more happy if you never used it, put it on the shelf, or if he saw you wearing it every day? He will be much more happy that you're wearing it every day. And he will be more likely to give you more gifts, more watches, more things, since he knows you appreciate it. But how do we think Allah will give us? We want our iman to grow, but we don't use what Allah has already given us, the Quran. Why should Allah give us more? Why should Allah give us more insights, more knowledge, more tafakkur, more things to think about, if we don't even use what we already have? We don't try to take it from the Quran. Why would Allah bless us with it? He sees us being ungrateful with the Quran itself. So it's upon us, it's imperative that we understand the blessings of Allah, the blessings of Islam and the blessing of the Quran, and we try to use it, and we try to take from it. We have in this story of, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the story of Qarun. We have in the story of Qarun, a man who was given so much of this dunya. He was given a lot of this dunya, but he wasn't given the iman to go along with it. So, Qarun is given all this money. Allah says in the Quran, "Inna Qaruna min qawmi Musa fabaghaw alayhim." Indeed, Qarun was from the people of Musa, but he behaved arrogantly. He was arrogant towards them. وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ مَا إِنَّ مَفَاتِحَهُ لَتَنُوءُ بِالْعُصْبَةِ أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ. We gave him so much treasure that even a group of strong men had difficulty carrying the keys to the treasure. Not just the treasure, not carrying the gold, just carrying the keys was difficult for a group of strong people. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ قَوْمُهُ لَا تَفْرَحْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَرِحِينَ. His people told him, don't be prideful, be humble. Allah doesn't love those who are prideful. So of course, Qarun wasn't among those who had humility and wasn't among those who had shukr. So his people told him, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ دَارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ وَلَا تَبْغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. His people told him, seek your reward in the akhirah, also take your reward and take the good that you have in the dunya as well. There's nothing wrong with the wealth that you have, you already have it. But asking Allah for forgiveness, being good in this dunya and being grateful to Him won't take away from your wealth. So why won't you do that? But of course, Qarun was among those who had pride. He didn't want to admit that it was Allah who had given him all this money. It was Allah who had given him all this wealth. He wanted to attribute it to himself only. So he came out to his people, in all his glory, in all his clothing and his wealth. He came out to the people and he showed this all to them. And he told them, and he told his people, I was given this because of my own knowledge, my own hard work. That's why I have all of this wealth, all of this money. He had no gratitude towards Allah. So he comes out to his people and all his wealth. And among the people, among the regular people who are seeing him, they too don't have great gratitude towards Allah. They also don't have gratitude towards Allah for their iman. Because if they had gratitude for their iman, they wouldn't wish they had what Qarun had. Rather, they would thank Allah, say, oh Allah, thank you for not giving me the wealth, but giving me iman. But those who wanted the dunya, they said, قَالَ الَّذِينَ يُرِيدُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا يَا لَيْتَ لَنَا مِثْلَ مَا أُوتِيَ قَارُونَ. Those who wanted the dunya said, woe, only if we had what Qarun had. إِنَّهُ لَذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. He's truly a man of great fortune. He surely has something that is great, something that we don't have, something greater than what we have. But they forget the fact that they have something greater, which is iman. But they're leaving that. And that's applicable to everyone nowadays, especially among the youth. We see on social media so many things, so much glory, so much wealth, so much appeal on social media and everywhere, and we always think, oh, if only we had that. Yeah, we have iman, but I wish we also had that. They don't realize that what they have is much, much more important. What they have is much, much more important. Their iman, their Islam is much more important, because on the Day of Judgment, they will see that it was much more important for them to be grateful to Allah for their iman than it is for the money. Of course, worldly things like health, wealth, family, all this are blessings that we have to be grateful for, and we have to thank Allah when we see them. But the most important thing we have to thank Allah for is the ability to worship Him, and to worship Him alone and be grateful to Him. So, those who had ilm, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ وَيْلَكُمْ ثَوَابُ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لِمَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَلَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ. But those gifted with knowledge said, shame on you to the people who are like looking at Qarun with so much desire. ثَوَابُ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لِمَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. Allah's reward, the reward of Allah, is much, much better than for those who believe and do good. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ. Only those who have patience will be able to attain such reward. So as we can see from this story, Qarun had so much good, so much wealth, but he was ungrateful for it. He was ungrateful for the blessings of Allah, and those who saw him were ungrateful for their iman and for their Islam, and for what they had. So gratitude will fix a lot of our problems, a lot of the problems that we have in this dunya. Because most of the problems that we have in this dunya is from competition, trying to get more and more, trying to be better than your fellow person, not being grateful for what you have, and them not being grateful for what they have. A lot of fighting, a lot of problems in the dunya are caused because of that. Most problems in the dunya are caused because of that. And just having the one simple thing, working on this one simple thing, gratitude, shukr, will alleviate a lot of these problems, a lot of this animosity, and a lot of this restlessness for wanting more and more. And ironically, it's Thanksgiving, it should be a season of gratitude, but the companies, the big corporations, they use this time, these holidays, to give you a ton of sales, a ton of advertisements, this, that, you need that, things that you never knew you needed, they tell you that you need it. A lot of people have less money, so they save up for things that they need on Black Friday, which is okay, if there's things that you need like clothes and stuff. But the companies, they use this time of holiday to incentivize you to buy more and to be more ungrateful and to want more and more and more. They flip it around. It's not about Thanksgiving. It's about the companies making more money off of you. We have another story in the Quran that shows us the effects of ungratitude. As we all know, we all try to read Surah Al-Kahf on Yawm al-Jum'ah, on Friday. And we have in Surah Al-Kahf the story of the two men in their garden. The man in his garden and his friend. Allah says in the Quran, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الرَّجُلَيْنِ جَعَلْنَا لِأَحَدِهِمَا جَنَّتَيْنِ مِنْ أَعْنَابٍ وَحَفَفْنَاهُمَا بِنَخْلٍ وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمَا زَرْعًا. And present to them the example of two men. We granted one of them 2 gardens of grapevines. So Allah gave one of the 2 men a garden of grapevines. And we bordered them with palm trees. And they were surrounded with palm trees, and between them was a field of crops. Every single one of the gardens, they would produce their fruit. And they would never give less than what they were supposed to. A tree wouldn't go bad. They were both very fruitful and plentiful. And there was a river that was flowing between them. فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا. And he had fruit, the man who was giving the gardens, and he said to his companion, and he was talking with him, I am greater than you in wealth and mightier in men. Meaning I have more men under me, I have more children. I have a lot more than you. ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. And he entered his garden and he was doing wrong to himself. And he said, I don't think this will ever go away. قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. This will never perish. وما أظن الساعة قائمة. His ungratitude, his arrogance led him to kufr. It made him say, I don't think the Sa'ah will ever come. He's astounded by his garden. He's like, I don't think anything can ever destroy this. His arrogance and his ingratitude took him over. وَلَئِنْ رُدِدْتُ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا. And he said, if I am returned to my Lord, I will find something even better than this. And he even deluded himself. He said, if I have all this good in this dunya, that must mean that Allah is favoring me. He's choosing me and He's blessing me over everyone else. He must love me more than everyone else, despite what I'm doing. So if I die and I go back to Allah, there actually is the sa'ah, well then I'm going to find something better than this. He gave me something like this in the dunya, He'll give me something better in the Jannah. He completely misunderstood his faith. He deluded himself. And he allowed shaitan to delude him, as shaitan does. قَالَ لَهُ صَاحِبُهُ وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُ. His friend told him, the poor friend, the one who didn't have nearly as much, and they were talking. أَكَفَرْتَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ ثُمَّ سَوَّاكَ رَجُلًا. Have you disbelieved? His friend understand. Are you actually disbelieving? Are you saying things of kufr? بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ. About the one who created you from dust, ثُمَّ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ. Then from a sperm drop, ثُمَّ سَوَّاكَ رَجُلًا. And then proportioned you, shaped you into a man. لَكِنَّ هُوَ اللَّهُ رَبِّي. As for me, He is my Lord. He is Allah, He is my Lord. This man, the man who doesn't have enough, should be thankful and was thankful for the fact that he didn't have enough to delude his eyes. As we can see, Allah uses things in this dunya to bless you and also to test you. A lot of men, they're given a lot of women, they're given a lot of good in this dunya. And they use it to increase their gratitude. They thank Allah more for it and they give more donations. And they increase their iman by it. But a lot of people are tested with good as well. They're given a lot so that they can disbelieve and so that they can be deluded. And this first man was among those who were being deluded by his wealth. But rather, we should ask Allah to be more like the second man who didn't have nearly as much. But he didn't allow the dunya to delude his eyes. Allah saved him from that by not giving him as much as the first man. So this man says, لَكِنَّهُ اللَّهُ رَبِّي وَلَا أُشْرِكُ بِرَبِّي أَحَدًا. No, my Lord is Allah, and I will never associate any partners with Allah. I will never disbelieve in Him. I will never commit kufr. وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ إِنْ تَرَنِي أَنَا أَقَلَّ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. So the man says to his friend, if only when you enter your Jannah, your gardens, قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ, if only you said مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. Only what Allah wills, whatever Allah wills, لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, there is no power except Allah. If you had said that, your money wouldn't have gone down. You already have it. Your wealth wouldn't have gone down. Nothing would have gone down. You're just thanking Allah. But just like Qarun, he had too much pride. He wanted to attribute it to himself and not attribute it to Allah, who gave him all of this. إِن تَرَنِي أَنَا أَقَلَّ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. Although you see me less than you in wealth and children. So you see me less than you in wealth and children. But you have disbelieved in Allah. فَعَسَىٰ رَبِّي أَن يُؤْتِيَنِي خَيْرًا مِنْ جَنَّتِكَ وَيُرْسِلَ عَلَيْهَا حُسْبَانًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَتُصْبِحَ صَعِيدًا زَلَقًا. فَعَسَىٰ رَبِّي أَن يُؤْتِيَنِي خَيْرًا مِنْ جَنَّتِكَ. So he says, maybe Allah will give me better than your gardens. وَيُرْسِلَ عَلَيْهَا حُسْبَانًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. And maybe He will send down a penalty from the sky, a destruction from the sky. فَتُصْبِحَ صَعِيدًا زَلَقًا. It will become smooth ground. You won't see a tree in it, you won't see a grapevine, you won't see a date, you won't see a single crop left. Everything will be destroyed. You think this is from you, but Allah can send down anything from an instant and destroy it. He may do that if you are ungrateful, and you will lose everything. But here's the thing, if you are grateful, Allah may still do that to test you, but you will gain more from that than the gardens you had. Imagine you had as many gardens as this person, and you believed in Allah, and you had gratitude. And Allah did send down a destruction upon it. He destroyed the gardens, and you were patient. Your reward will be increased that much more. So as we know, surprising is the condition of the believer. If something good happens to him, he thanks Allah and he's rewarded. If something bad happens to him, he's patient and he's also rewarded. So the believer has good, whether the time has blessings and forgiveness and reward from Allah, whether times are good or whether times are bad. But this man, he decided to disbelieve in Allah and not to thank Allah for the goodness. So when he lost his gardens, he lost everything. He never had the gratitude. وَأُحِيطَ بِثَمَرِهِ فَأَصْبَحَ يُقَلِّبُ كَفَّيْهِ. So his crops, his fruits, they were all encompassed by ruin. And he began to turn about his hands in dismay. He was so regretful. عَلَى مَا أَنْفَقَ فِيهَا. As to what he had spent on it. He had spent so much time, so much money building his gardens. وَهِيَ خَوِيَةٌ عَلَىٰ عُرُوشِهَا, and it's just destroyed. It's just destroyed. He spent so much time doing all this work, attributing it to himself, and now it's just destroyed. وَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُشْرِكْ بِرَبِّي أَحَدًا. Now he's regretting it. Now he's saying, يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُشْرِكْ بِرَبِّي أَحَدًا. If only I hadn't associated partners with Allah. Basically, almost associated myself with Allah, saying that this is from me and this isn't from Allah. وَلَمْ تَكُنْ لَهُ فِئَةٌ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مُنْتَصِرًا. There was no one, no company to aid him, to help him, or to protect his garden against destruction. Before he was bragging to the man, he was bragging to his friend, I have so much men under me. Now none of those men can protect his gardens from destruction. هُنَالِكَ الْوَلَايَةُ لِلَّهِ الْحَقِّ وَخَيْرٌ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ عُقْبًا. There the authority is completely for Allah. The truth, He is best in reward and best in outcome. So it's upon us to thank Him and to ask Him for more and not to be arrogant and say that the good that we have is from ourselves. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم واستغفروه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. So in the first khutbah we were talking about the importance of giving shukr. But how can we actually give this shukr? What's the manifestation of shukr? The manifestation of shukr is different in everyone. But we can start by looking at an example again in the Quran, where Allah says about the story of Sulaiman. We all know the story. Most of us know the story of Sulaiman and the ant. So Sulaiman is walking with his army, with his gigantic army, and they come حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَوْا عَلَى وَادِ النَّمْلِ, until they come across a valley that has ants in it. Some ants live in this valley. حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَوْا عَلى وَادِ النَّمْلِ قَالَتْ نَمْلَةٌ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّمْلُ ادْخُلُوا مَسَاكِنَكُمْ لَا يَحْطِمَنَّكُمْ سُلَيْمَانُ وَجُنُودُهُ وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. So one of the ants, one of the guard ants, quote unquote, is shouting to his people, enter your homes, enter your houses. Surely Sulaiman won't see you, and him and his army are going to destroy all of you. فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا مِنْ قَوْلِهَا. Now we all know Sulaiman had the ability to understand the speech of the ants. So he started smiling. فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا مِنْ قَوْلِهَا. He started smiling from the speech of the ant. وَقَالَ رَبِّ أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيَّ وَعَلَى وَالِدَيَّ. And he says, oh Allah, give me the ability to be thankful, to be grateful for the blessings that you have given me. All the blessings from his army, to the ability to understand the speech of animals and ants, to the ability to control the wind and the jinns, etc., etc. Most importantly, the blessing of Islam, the blessing of Iman. So he's telling Allah, oh Allah, give me the ability to appreciate the blessings that you have given me, وَعَلَى وَالِدَيَّ, and upon my parents, وَأَنْ أَعْمَلَ صَالِحًا, and so that I can do good. Allah, give me the ability to do good. So he led with asking Allah to give him the ability to have shukr, to have gratefulness, to give shukr to Allah. Allah, allow me to be able to be grateful to you, and based off of that, let me be able to do good deeds. وَأَنْ أَعْمَلَ صَالِحًا. So more important than the good deeds, Allah, we always hear do good, do good, do good. But it's always important, before the good deed, to fix the mindset. Why are we doing the good deed? As the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Surely deeds are all based upon their intention. So we can do all the good deeds in the world. We could pray, we could read the Quran, we could do this, we could do that. But if it's not preceded by intention, then it won't have nearly the same value. And one of those things is shukr. One of the intentions that we can have is that I'm doing the good deed that I'm doing based off of shukr. That's the mindset that we can have. If we are thankful to Allah for Iman, for the ability to pray, for the ability to do good, that in and of itself is part of our intention to do good and to do it for the sake of Allah alone. So he says, رَبِّ أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي عَلَيَّ وَعَلَى وَالِدَيَّ وَأَنْ أَعْمَلَ صَالِحًا تَرْضَاهُ وَأَدْخِلْنِي بِرَحْمَتِكَ فِي عِبَادِكَ الصَّالِحِينَ. Oh Allah, allow me to be thankful of the blessing upon me and my family and my parents, and that I can do good that pleases you. وَأَدْخِلْنِي بِرَحْمَتِكَ فِي عِبَادِكَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And enter me by your mercy among your مِنْ عِبَادِكَ الصَّالِحِينَ, among your righteous servants. So this is actually a dua that we can say ourselves. We can just memorize it. We can go to Surah Al-Naml, take this dua and memorize it. رَبِّ أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي عَلَيَّ وَعَلَى وَالِدَيَّ وَأَنْ أَعْمَلَ صَالِحًا تَرْضَاهُ وأدخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. Other ways that we can show Allah gratitude. This differs from person to person. So number one starting is to simply do good based on, with the intention of having shukr. Having shukr to Allah, doing good, as Sulaiman said. And that differs from person to person. Everyone has different abilities. No one is on the same level of faith. We just first have to shift our mindset and do whatever good we're doing now, fix the intention. And then add more good deeds, little by little, to have gratitude towards Allah. Other things that we could do is simply taking the time to do our adhkar, especially in the morning and the evening. There are some adhkar that we can do that shows our gratitude to Allah. This just brings us back every morning and evening. One of the dua that we have, the Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, Man qala hina yusbih, whoever says when he wakes up, Alhamdulillahi, Man qala man yusbih, Alhamdulillahi ma asbaha bi min ni'matin faminka wahdaka la sharika lak, falaka alhamdu wa laka shukr. So whoever says, all praise be to Allah, ma asbaha bi min ni'matin, whatever has come to me of good, faminka wahdaka la sharika lak. It is for you, it is from you, wahdak, you alone, la sharika lak. There is no partner to be associated with you. Falaka alhamdu wa laka shukr. So for you is alhamd, praise, wa laka shukr, and for you is gratitude. Whoever has said this in the morning when they wake up has completed their shukr for the day. Whoever has said this one dua has completed his shukr for the day. This one dua, the Prophet ﷺ is saying it's enough if you say it with the right mindset, understanding the meaning, and actually trying to feel it and understand it and comprehend it. Think about the blessings of Allah as you say it. Then he has completed his shukr for the day. So if you can do nothing, just spend this 20 seconds saying this one dua in the morning. And the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever says this when they go to sleep in the evening, whoever says this to end their day, either after Asr or after Maghrib or whenever you can, whoever says this for the evening has completed his shukr for the evening. So Allah has made it very easy for us to do what we need to do. From praising Him, from thanking Him, and from doing all of these good deeds. So, O Allah, make us be among those who give you shukr as you deserve. O Allah, praise be to you as you deserve to be praised and not as we praise you. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم طهر قلوبنا من النفاق وأعمالنا من الرياء وألسنتنا من الكذب وأعيننا من الخيانة إنك تعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. اللهم لا تؤاخذني بما يقولون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون واجعلني خيرا مما يظنون. إلى صلاتكم.